Oh, there's a few, isn't there?
Hello, good afternoon, welcome to the PM show with you on Tuesday the 17th of June 2020. To say I'm flat out is an understatement, I think. Yes, it is utterly crazy. This is definitely one of those weeks which will go down in history. I don't think I've had so much stock here ever. Literally sanders coming out of our ears. We're hoping to have the wash be starting to go and sorted and getting that out next week. So crazy, absolutely crazy. But I have found time to do some priming today, so I've been making things glossy, which is very nice. And yesterday we were doing priming and that, if you'd seen that one yesterday. So yes, we are getting there. Anyway, how you doing, Matt? How's it going?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, it's a bit of a thing with you rushing around, isn't it? I'm a bit on the quieter side, shall we say, till I've got stock in. So
Yes,
it's all on your shoulders.
I know it
this week.
is. I think I ought to take the camera around, really. I know I sent you guys some photos, but it was outside the front in boxes, just piles of sanders. And obviously they come to me raw. I have to make them, package them up. We do that all here. So it was just in raw off the lorry and then brought them into the kitchen. It's absolutely full up with them. And now, obviously, because we're unpacking them and doing them as we're making up the sets during the evenings and everything, the kitchen, you could just slink through because the kitchen table and in front of it's absolutely just piles of sanders everywhere. And then out the back, we've got a covered deck area, as you guys know. It's all been done out there as well. Not to mention the unit today, obviously the first lot of sanders has gone out and it's just everywhere. And it's like, it's upstairs in the spare room now. Got them coming out of our ears. And then hopefully, as you say, next week we'll have the wash on the go. So at the moment, in preparation, we've got some of the wash we can do. That's being made up as well. So it's like...
Motion detected at your front door.
There'll be another delivery. So... another one. I tell you, we are in it at the moment. It's like non-stop. But it's good to see stock is finally coming back in. That's the whole point to it. Because we haven't had any stock. And these sanders that have come in was the delivery... It was due in March. So that's the whole point. So we're a whole cycle. We do our orders of the sanders come in quarterly. And yeah, so as you say, it's 128,000 sanders in total. So it's like, Jesus, that's it. So it's like they're in and then we've got another lot coming in at the end of the month as well. And then we should be back to normal. So yes, crazy times. As I say, I've never known it as busy. I'll tell you what it feels like. Telford week. The week before Telford, where it's absolute chaos with everything. It is literally like that at the moment. So, but anyway, it's enjoyable and it's nice because everything's back in. Because there's nothing worse, like, you know, as we know with the store, where people are asking for stuff and you just haven't got it. And it's not you. It's a case of it's just literally, you know, one of those things that's out of your hands. It's suppliers, in my case, manufacturers who are shut down totally, and then trying to get production slots booked to get your stuff through and stuff like that. So. Yeah, after being on the phone, chasing up, and I know Matt's been doing the same as well, you know, been chasing up stockists and suppliers, and we've been trying to get it out of different places as well, literally right the way around the world to get kits in and various things, and paint seems to be a bit thin on the ground these days, as we know, so it's like, yeah, it's just one of those. But hopefully things are starting to get back to normal, and as I say, within 2 weeks I'll be fully restocked and good to go, and hopefully things will calm down just a little bit.
Yeah, well, like I say, I've had a couple of messages to say people have had a restock. The only thing we really wait for, which I think is going to be another couple of weeks, is Tamiya paint. So obviously black, white, silver. Yeah. Usual common colours.
The proper, the what colours everybody wants.
Yeah, again, we've been out of stock and they're out of stock. I've got a load on back order with them anyway. So as soon as obviously they arrive and they get labelled up, which is obviously the other issue with paint, somebody's got to sit there and do it. So... We'll get them back in stock, but I'm just putting together an order for some more Mr. Hobby stuff. Yes. Including the airbrushes. Hopefully. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's hope they come in and in a decent amount. So I'm not sure, obviously, we'll get what everybody's waiting for, because I know there's, oh God, I don't know, 50 on the waiting list, I think. Yeah. I don't know what numbers if we can get that many in, but obviously when they come in, we'll get the wait list email sent out and it will be first come, first served. So just yeah, be on it, I think. And we'll see. It's probably going to trickle in, obviously, with stuff like that, but hopefully like paints, leveling thinner, primers, usual stuff that we go through, like GX100 is all back in, so like the order will be in and we should have that in by the end of the week as well. So it's all go again.
It is sort of getting there. Thank you for all the kind comments in the live chats and everywhere like that. We are live across them all. So hello to everybody who's in with us this afternoon. Nice to see you there. How many people are still furloughed, or is everyone going back to work these days? So yes.
Nice to know, wouldn't it? Actually,
it'd be nice to know how many people are like back to work, how many people are still furloughed with all of this. Obviously in the UK, for obviously our international people, the UK's sort of gone back while still at level 4, which seems odd. But obviously the shops have reopened a little bit within certain rulings and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all gone a little bit weird, and there seems to be a lot more traffic on the roads, and so yeah, it's a little bit odd how it's all going. People are asking, right, okay, so the big sander sets are like 43 quid, but obviously members, you get your 15% off of that one. So that's back in stock. That's a 10 pack, and it's a whole pack of all the different types of sanders we do, including the new dual ones. Then you've got the starter set one, which is a tenner, £10, £9.99. Okay, and it's got one of everything and then two of the skinnies. Okay, from the sort of the basic range. It hasn't got any of the dual ones in it, but it's got the normal ones. You've got everything you could need in there, and those ones come with the new one with the card. So you've got the inlay card in the back, which has got a photo of all of them. It tells you the approximate grits and how they work on the back there, like that. And then the skinny set, which has got everything in it. So that's got basically two of everything in a skinny form, and the dual ones as well as the normal ones in there. So that's a pack of 16 as well. So they're $5.50 down in there. They are up on the site. Next week I'm going to do a run up to the store, so I'll take up Matt, will get a full restock next week, and then hopefully we'll get restocks out to the Brett at High Altitude Hobbies in the US. So within a couple of weeks he'll get them through, and then hopefully Brevco will be taking them on as well, so I'll get a stock out to them, and obviously people in Europe can buy from there, so forth and so on. But at the moment obviously I need to make them all up, and that's going to take a little bit of time, and obviously we've got the wash coming as well before I can get them out to everybody. But if you do want to buy them direct at the moment, they are available on the actual Flooring Model store. You can grab them in there, but by next week obviously they'll be on the PM store. You'll be able to buy there, and then obviously within a couple of weeks they'll be available around the usual suspects around the internet as well. So yes, good job with that.
Say, what a relief, that you've got stock.
It is, yes, I must admit. Well, the funny thing is that when we were due for our restock in March, it was due in on the 24th of March, and the factory shut on the 18th. So it was like brilliant, literally. And I was thinking, well, perhaps they've done them and they just need to be shipped. So I was like, no, we haven't even manufactured them. And it's like, you were due for that Monday, and then like Boris said his bit on the Sunday night, and it was like, Jesus, that's that stuff then. So you know, and that was it. And they were like, no, we are shut. That's it. So it hasn't been done. We don't know when we're coming back. That's it. And we just didn't know, and that was the whole point. So when they did reopen a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to get a production slot and being told you're in the line. But luckily, I have to say, kudos to my manufacturing lot. They did a fantastic job of getting us done quick. So yes, we're doing all right. So they've sent me a bit to get us going, to get orders done for Phil, and we can make sets. The major bulk of it, got 2/3 more yet, which is actually coming in hopefully at the end of the month, beginning of next month. But we'll be okay till then, and then that'll be the bulk load, which will go out everywhere. So yes, we'll be fine. So good job with that one. That's the main thing.
Cool.
Right. Okay. So we've got some stuff. So should we have a look at the PM store, see what's new in there?
We'll have a quick look. There's not overly amount of new stuff, but yeah, there's a few little bits and bobs in, and a restock of a few bits. Just to go through while you're at the top, Lysanders, I'm going to get a restock of those. The F18s are doing with the order that's coming out of Germany. That's been dispatched today, and I've got the tracking, so hopefully that will be in by the end of the week. So that's the B26s. Some of them are coming in, and some other bits and bob tool-wise that we've got lined up. So yeah, back end of this week, beginning of next, they'll be back in again with the Dasworks Tiger 2. That should be back in as well, because that's coming out of another company who's just messaged, so that'll be good. You've got reviews to do of the 108 and the Mustang and whatever else I sent you, so you're going to do reviews.
Yeah, I'm going to do those this week.
You get 5 minutes in between everything else.
Yes.
You scroll down. We've got the cockpits back in. They come back in. They're back in stock. So I did send out people who were waiting for them an email, but again, if you want one, they're in.
Yeah.
It's obviously first come, first served with that. And also, if you go down the bottom, we've got a few Italy items, as in the Mercedes 600. I presume the motorbike's an old Protar kit.
Yeah.
I would have guessed, and then a couple of Dragon kits, as in the early Tiger one, and a Stug, which is a Neo, which I've got no idea what a smart kit Neo is. There seems to be a lot in the box.
So we're talking Dragon, aren't we, with smart kit?
Dragon, yeah.
Yes.
So it's going to be everything in the box you want, but
Yeah.
I don't know what the Neo bit is, because that's new to me.
Ooh.
So if anybody knows, let me know.
Yeah, post up. What you get is different with a Neo.
Probably Dragon marketing, in it. But,
yes, probably just put another badge on it.
Yeah, else on it and stuff. But yeah, so I say it's early production Tiger. So that's really it. Bin kit wise, like I say, it's a bit quiet at the minute.
I was going to say it's still all a little bit thin on the ground as we're making our way through, but hopefully it'll be one of those ones where it'll start to pick up. As I say, there's lots of stuff that's in the pipeline, but even from my point of view, I can sort of, when people say when are things coming, I couldn't even tell you when my stuff was coming, let alone people down the chain. So when you get kit manufacturers, because obviously we spoke to Airfix, haven't we, about it when we had them on, and we saying, is it been affecting you? And no one knows, because no one knows when production slots are being fulfilled and stuff. But the big thing is the supply chain, how quickly it gets to other areas, like for packaging and printing materials and that. So you might have an injection molding companies working, but the people who print the box art might not be, or they might have problems with supply getting in as well. So until everything sort of balances itself out a little bit, I think it's going to be very much all a little bit up in the air, because I'm being asked all the time about things like Kitty Hawk stuff, like their SU25 and various kits that they've got coming out. But honestly, I haven't got a clue. I just nothing whatsoever on what's going on with these things at the moment. I think it'll just be one of those things where it will arrive and be a surprise to them, like us probably. So yeah, it's just a case of hold fire. Things are coming through. We're doing okay. Slowly. Certain things are coming through, I think, quicker than I thought they would even, if I'm being honest. But again, it's one of those. It is coming through. It is getting there. It's just the bugbear, like with us with Tamiya at the moment, we haven't got any paint. So yeah,
it's the main paint colours, obviously.
Yeah, it's like black, white, and silver. So to be honest, I painted this. It's lovely. I'm doing this as a Night Bomber, gloss black. So. Yeah, so the thing is, I did this in LP1, absolutely loved it. Let me show them on the close-up. Hold on, because it's worth it, because it looks very nice. So yes, there you go. That's LP1.
You can't paint that.
You can't.
You've just got to leave it.
It does look good, doesn't it? I have to say.
It does. Yeah, it does on camera. It looks
That's
amazing.
Just literally LP1. Blown over it. We've glossed it on, so obviously because it's going to have the metallizer effect over the top of it, but it looks so good like that. It looks like, as you say, it's had a wash, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It really does on cam. Yeah, it's like, and a perfect wash at that.
Yeah, it's a perfect wash.
Yeah. You need to do a gloss black plane.
I know, I do now. I've just done one, so I might just keep it like that. But it has come out exceptionally well, I must admit. I'm very, very happy with that. As you say, even on, again, the riveted detail is absolutely perfect on it. I have to say, kudos to them. Very good job on that one. So anyway, it's one of those ones where it's annoying when your primary colour you could do with, like LP1, I'll be honest with you, I've just them out and I haven't got enough to do my doors.
Oh.
So it was a bottle to do all of that with the doors and everything. So it was one bottle to do it. So, and that was it. And obviously Matt sent me down his bottle he had because I needed gloss. So, but I have got half a bottle of X1. So I might have to do the flaps in acrylic, the Bombay and the flaps in acrylic. Because literally I've done one and then that's it. I didn't have enough to do that. So I've actually stopped there. So, but it'd be enough for doing the actual metal work on there, and the others I can get away with other bits. But yeah, it was literally, you could hear it starting to run down in the airbrush, and then it kicked, and it was like, no, keep going, quick. I was literally, because I held it by this engine as I was doing it, I actually painted it like this. So when I finished it, I had to do this bit, and that was like, and you're like, no, I can't get any more. I'm like wringing out the pipette, I need the last bit. So
what mixing ratio did you do it at?
To be honest with it, I find with LP1, strangely, I do it usually around about normally I do thinner to is a little bit more thinner to paint, but this is more paint to thinner, so this is probably 60% paint to 40% thinners.
Oh, right, okay.
Because it just levels out. It goes beautifully on. So it's one dusty coat, one little cover coat right the way over it. 2 minutes later, one heavy coat right on it, and that's it. And it does the job. It fits beautifully. It goes around really, really well with it. So I just find it's the best one for giving a good coverage versus everything else. But when I thinned it a little bit more, it just doesn't cover quite as well. You know, you probably do it, but you need another coat.
Yeah.
Doing it this way, I can get away with 3 coats and that's it. But I think if you thinned it a little bit more, it'll do. Where with, if I'm using X1, which is the acrylic version or alcohol version of it, with that I'll use probably 60% thinners, 40% paint. It's more thinners than paint. But with this, it's the other way round, I found, and it just gives best bang for the buck. And the coverage, as you can see, is beautiful with it. You know, no problems, no nothing. It just goes on. The nice thing about it, I think, because it's a little bit thicker, you don't get the overspray, you know, the dust areas, because it just eats in. You physically see it. It goes in and it just vanishes into it because it's got a good thick coat of it on there. And again, it's got the time to dry. But that was with leveling thinners as well. Whereas this one yesterday, if you're watching yesterday, we used rapid thinners on it. So you could hold it whilst you're spraying it, which is quite good. And it's worked an absolute treat. Very, very happy of how this has come out. It's gone on there beautifully, no problems at all with it. So that one was the other way round. So that one you're using more thinners to paint, where this thing it's more paint to thinners. But yeah, I must admit, as you know, I'm a complete fanboy. I am. I will admit it. I love Tamiya's LP range. I just wish they did the lot. You know, as we were saying, they're a little picky on sort of the colours that they do. And what I'd like to do is actually something modern, because obviously they do now the ghost greys, light and dark ghost greys, which is obviously the standard US Navy colour and pretty much everything these days from that part of the world. So they do those, which is quite nice. But it'd be nice if they did them pretty much to follow along with their acrylic range. You know, if it had mirrored, I think it would have been really, really nice. But as we know, they've gone more down the RC colours and car colours and things like that. So, but it's very, very easy to use. If you're ever thinking about lacquer paints, honestly, if you can spray Tamiya normal acrylic line, you can do theirs because it's exactly the same. You know, as I say, I think you can add a little bit more paint if you want glossy work, but if you want more of a flat finish, then stand a 50-50 to start with, and you can usually thin it a little bit more as well. But yeah, very happy. It's one of those paints, and we've been speaking about paints a lot recently, where you just know it's going to work. You know, you put it in your airbrush, you mix it up, you spray, and like classic was with this, and you'll see the video for this next week. When I put it down, it just goes. You know, there's no messing around with it, there's no finesse, there's nothing to do. You put it in your airbrush and you just spray it until you're finished. You put your airbrush down and that's it. And that's the only time you ever, you know, there's no pissing around or, you know, trying to kickstart it, cleaning the top or anything else like that. It's just in and done. And that's it. And it's really nice to have a paint that is hassle free. So, but as you say, you're just a little bit limited on the colours. It'd be nice if they did a few more.
I was saying with the LP range, I think it's actually people started to discover it now. It took a bit of getting going. Normally a paint range, people will just go and buy it, and I think that range has definitely took a lot more, like I say, getting going for people to latch onto it, I suppose, and try it. And then when they do, it's this is good stuff. We'll, you know, we'll carry on with it. So I obviously, like you say, I think the colour palette's limited of what they do. But they do sort of the main armour colours in there, and like I said,
it's all Japanesey type colours, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, I can see the point of them not crossing over to the XF range, if because you can thin that with lacquer thinners anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, so I can see where they're going, but they are expanding it. There are a couple of other colours coming, and I presume they'll do a few more along the line. But yeah, there is a good, especially like the silvers and stuff, because obviously in the XF range it's rubbish. Let's be honest.
Woeful, yeah. XF19 and X11, they're terrible, absolutely terrible. Great.
So obviously it's the ones from the LP range are a lot better.
Yes.
Yes. Just don't get it in stock soon.
Yes, that's it. I'll have a box of each. Box of white, a box of black.
What is it? LP11.
LP11, yeah, that's it. LP11's a lovely colour as well.
Yeah, I know.
I've got to try that new one, LP48 yet. I haven't tried it on anything yet. Buster will have to get a workout first. We'll test it.
Yes.
Turns out I'll probably spray it all over this. That'd be fine.
Yeah, stick it in the airbrush and go for it. So yeah,
that's it.
So we're going to get to some questions.
Right, okay, so Steve says, hi guys, not a question as such, but a comment on the forthcoming Zucamori F4E. From what I've seen on the boxing, it's the early hard wing version from the Vietnam era. The later slatted wing version is coming in a later boxing and is considerably different. Looking at the leading edge slats and then the fairings and the slotted tailplanes. Just thought you might mention it as people need to check references before pre-ordering if they have a specific scheme in mind. I am planning on the Black Knight from the 57th. I need to have to wait for a later version. Can't wait to see them. Also the Recce and Wild Weasel versions to come. Absolutely. Yes, it gets the thing is with the earlier Navy type ones like the C's, D's and J's and things like that, they're quite, again, they can be a minefield because obviously the J has the bulged wing, the thick wing and stuff like that, so it's just the same for all the Phantom variants. But yeah, I think it's one of those ones, you either got the old school version or the more modern one with the slatted wings and all the various things in it. And obviously you get the EJ version, the Japanese one. I'm sure we'll see that one definitely coming along because obviously with Zucamori. Yes. And in fact, I was watching recently a YouTube channel, which is a Japanese guy who videos and puts some fantastic music to it with the Japanese ones and those fantastic markings they have, you know, so in like the blues and the greens with the browns, millions of stencil data all over them. And they've got the Recce birds and all the rest of it, and they've always got the shark mouths and the various faces on them, and they do look nice as well. So I can imagine people doing a lot of those in the future. There's going to be a lot of those coming around, I think.
Yeah.
David says, afternoon both. I am one of the oddballs who like to have their aircraft flying. I don't think you're an oddball, David. I've got this one will be flying. The only thing I don't have flying is props because they just look wrong.
Yeah.
So he says, advantage, no undercarriage to paint. Disadvantage, pilots to paint. My current Flying Fortress needs 10 men. But I have secured the excellent crew from Legend Productions. Do you have any videos where you tackle a 1/72nd or 1/48 scale World War II pilots and crew? I've got no videos on painting pilots and crew. They'd have to be 1:1 scale for me to paint them. That's why Matt paints my figures for me, because I don't do figure painting. So yes,
what I did for you.
And very good he looked too. Yeah,
thanks.
I thought he looked absolutely fantastic, because if I'd done him, he would have been boss-eyed. Eyeballs doing like that. So yes,
it's a thing to 48th and 72nd. I've actually got some 48 Grand Crew, but they're Luftwaffe. I don't know. Do you know what? I discovered them the other day in a box up on the top when I was looking for some else. I forgot I even had them. So don't know. We've perhaps worked some ass about that.
Yeah.
At some point.
Need you to do a tutorial on that one, clearly.
Well, we were just discussing it before we came on about, because just in news, possibly from Monday.
Yes.
I'm moving back to work because my daughter is going back to school for a month, and then that'll be it. She'll be off again.
She'll be on some holidays again. Yeah.
But we don't know this for definite until tomorrow, so we're going to discuss going back to work. Now we're not going to open the shop as of yet. We've got other priorities to do, but at some point the shop will be open for click and collect, which hopefully will be in the next few weeks. We've got to put all the safety measures and all the bump up of what we're going to do and let everybody know, so don't get all excited that the shop's going to be back to normal, because it's not for the time being. But we've just said with obviously Phil's mentioning coming up next week, and also Andy's sort of changed his job, so he's got to work out his hours and what he's doing. But on the figure painting sort of front, we're going to do a few tutorials between us, aren't we, on different things, like I said, the bite size, and I'm going to do some. But with the figure painting, I kind of need a cameraman, so I've got to wait till Andy's in to get it set up, and then I can probably do a bit of a tutorial on figure painting for everybody. So like I say, but I definitely need a cameraman, because you ended up, I've tried it with like a webcam, and you just end up covering covering yourself up so you can't see, so you kind of need someone there to do it for you. So just watch this space, and hopefully, like I say, we'll get something up and running, especially like I say on the little tutorials and stuff. So say painting, like when I painted the wall, we'll probably do another one, but do a vid on it so you can go back and reference, and using your wash as a mortar and whatever. There's loads of stuff we can do. So,
yes, yeah,
definitely exciting.
Yes, and obviously on that note, if you didn't see it yesterday, for people who haven't watched it, the new bite size on primer, it went up yesterday, so that's in the tutorial section on the main site and obviously on the forum and everything else. So on that, we were basically talking about priming, as in when, why and where we would do it, and then obviously how to get smooth paintwork, which actually, it's one of those things. Probably the most asked question we've had over the last 10 weeks was, what's silver? All right, no, not that one. But on a serious one, was about paint texture. We had that question come up a lot, where people were talking about getting rough textures and all the things like that. And to be honest, it's something I suffered with for years as well. And then I had like a bit of an epiphany. The old light bulb went on, and I cured it. And even on this is rapid drying thinners. So in theory, this should be rough, but it's not, and it's how you lay it down and distances and to do with pressures rather than anything else. So what I'll do is I'm going to do another one about it. In theory, I could have done it on this, because again, this is beautifully glossy and it's the same technique that goes into it, but I will do one on that one as well. And as I said before, with all those little questions we were being asked, and a lot of the questions you post up as well, and emails I get, I will do little mini tutorials, and all those videos will be 10 to 20 minutes long, and it's literally specifically on that. So that one was just about primers. Obviously we'll do one about paint textures for grittiness and stuff like that, and then obviously all those common ones as well. So they're nice little bite size, not sitting there for hours getting bored to death listening to me, that you can get straight to the nitty gritty of it and get them. But that's something we will definitely be doing. And say Matt's got lots of little ideas he wants to do for doing the videos, on his side of it as well, because Matt tends to got right into his figure.
Somebody knocked on the door. Oh, sorry about that.
But yeah, so it's one of those things. We've had lots of various suggestions and things to do, so yeah, it's something that we're planning on doing, getting set up and sorted. And so there's things with the PM store, we want to get the studio up there sorted in the near future as well. We various things, all those plans we had in the spring for like getting it plastered and painted and decorated up there as well into the studio up there. Obviously all that went out the window, so it's just a case of getting everything back to normal and getting those things set up and going again, and the cameras and the lighting rigs and everything up there as well, so Matt can do some close-up stuff in good quality as well, so yeah,
absolutely. There's no point doing it if nobody can see what's happening.
Absolutely, and you're sort of wasting your time almost, because you're gonna have to do it again. So
I'm saying I did try it from here before, and I just couldn't get this computer not powerful enough to do it, and it was just rubbish. It would jerk and it was terrible. So I think the computer at work that Andy built will manage it, but it's obviously getting the cameras right and the setup and the lighting, because the lighting up there is not brilliant. So that's why we've not got customers coming in. The plan is now, we're going back to work, is to clear that office out. I'm going to move the computer and everything upstairs and work on the mezzanine, because it's not cold, obviously. And then we can get somebody in to plaster it and get that room sorted, really. Because obviously the stuff in it's got to go somewhere, but just back in the shop. But yes, all good. We'll be ready for next year, hopefully, when we're back to proper.
Yes.
Well, fingers crossed.
That's it, unless we get a second wave and we'll all be here again doing 10 weeks of shows. Back to normal. Okay. Darren says, hi Phil and Matt, a quick question. What is your opinion on the 1/32 Tamiya F15? Is it worth the cash? How much is one of those going for at the moment?
I've honestly no idea. I've got no clue whatsoever how much one of them is retail. I'm sure you can have a look round quick and find.
Because I remember at one point they were around about 80 quid. And then we had the price hike came in, and then the last I saw one, I think they're about 110. But I don't know what they are now, so they keep going up.
I've got a feeling 125, I reckon, but I I'll have a look now. Hold on, just
people often talk about, and they say about obviously price of kits. Is it worth buying kits and sitting on them for your stash? That's a good example of yes, because back in the day, I must admit, I had a couple of 32nd F-16s because when I used to do commission work, and in those days they were $79.99 retail when they first came out, and I bought a couple of them just for stock because I know I'd be building them for commissions. And in there I had a few Phantoms, and then those you pick up when they're on specials at different places, and you can get them pretty cheap. And I had the F-15s, the only one I never do because the Tomcat's awful. But yeah, I had the Eagles as well and all the rest of it. And over the years, I've watched them go up in price. So
right. I have prices. So which one was it? An F-15 what?
C
is £100.
Right.
The E, the Bunker Buster one, is 130.
Yeah.
And the J, which is the Japanese one, I take it, is 110.
Yeah.
I think that's it in it. Yeah, that's it for the 32nd ones, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the C ones, the cheaper ones out of them all. But yeah.
Yeah. So getting back to your original question, yeah, I've built a few of them now. I've built the C's and the E's, and they are nice. The only thing I would say, you've got a screw system where the wings attach, and the first two I built, I screwed them. The first one, I think I overdid it, and it pulls it slightly, and you end up with a step. The second time I tried it, I didn't do it up as tight, still ended up with a step. Third one I built, I didn't even screw it. I just glued it, no step. So I think that goes for the E as well. I've only ever built one E, and I didn't screw the wing joint, and I literally just glued it instead of screwing it. And I know it's a big old wing and that, but I don't think it's going to fall off. So although it's quite nice sometimes where they have these screw systems in there, I think it's easy to overdo it, and then that way it pulls it down. And then once it's pulled it down, it's very hard for it to go back. So I recommend not doing it. Sorry, more deliveries coming in.
Right, load of deliveries coming in.
It's just constant at the moment. So, but yeah, so all I would say, yes, it's worth it. It's a big, beautiful kit. That's basically your only other option is the old Revell one.
Yeah.
Which is not a C. I think that's an A. And yeah, so, and that's nothing on comparison to the Tamiya one. So yes, and there's, to be honest, there's some very nice aftermarket if you wanted to go down that route as well now for the Tamiya one. So you might want to stick a new seat in it, for instance, and various things. So yeah, no, generally straight off the bat, it's a really, really nice kit. And I think for £100, honestly, I think it's worth it. It's a good, big, bold kit. And in the great scheme of it, you think, how much now? Because I've got them down there. The Super Hornets and normal Hornets are that price now, aren't they, in 32nd? Trumpy and Academy ones?
The Academy ones are, the Academy ones are well expensive.
I think so. Actually, when you think about it, if it's only £100 still, that's not a bad price.
I'm not sure on the Trumpy ones, but hold on, I can just tell you about the Academy one. Hold on, just bear with me a minute. I'll give the price on it. There it is. It's £125 for the A plus Hornet.
Yeah, there you go. So, and again, I think I paid something like $79.99 for those down there. I must admit, I've had them a long time. You can tell by the dust on them. But my little Hornet collection's down there. So yeah, I think for £100 on the Tamiya one, do it. You'll be very, very impressed. It's typical Tamiya. It's old school Tamiya because it's quite an old kit now, but it actually goes together all right. Just be careful with your joints, test fit things, usual things. Ejector pins, just watch out for those as well. There's a few of them, as usual.
Mind you, how old's that kit? That is an old kit though, isn't it?
That's proper old, that is, yeah.
So, yeah. It's something we can get in if you want it, so drop us a message if you want me to order you one in.
Yeah.
As long as obviously they're in stock at said.
Yeah, if Tamiya's got them in.
Hobbyco.
That's it.
One of their bigger sellers, to be honest. I'm just looking at the price on the Hornets. Hold on, I'm near them. I think it was.
Mm.
No, they just on about the Trumpy ones, because I don't know what they are. Trumpy stuff's just gone up, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Like loads and loads. Where are you? Carry on, sorry, I'll get back to you while I'm just searching if you want to carry on to the next question. Oh,
just a couple in there. How long is shipping to the US? At the moment, for some reason, it's still taking quite a while. It's taking around about 4 to 5 weeks. I don't understand why. Shipping in the UK now is next day, pretty much throughout it. Rest of the world just depends on local. It's actually getting out of the UK okay now, but for some reason they're getting held up in certain places.
Yeah.
I had one parcel sat for a while in New York for some reason, and then all of a sudden it was released and it was with the customer the next day. But it sat there for something like 2 weeks, just doing nothing. So sometimes it says like left the UK, and then you hear nothing, and it's sat in some sorting thing in the other country until it then gets scanned for delivery or wherever it's going. They tend to sit there for a while, so be patient, people. They're still coming through. Again, some people are getting them really, really quickly. I had one go to Germany that was there within 2 days, so that was really good. And other things going, to France seem to be taking a little bit longer. So I think it's very, very localized on these things.
I had a good one that went to Israel that had to tour the country before it got to the customer. I think it went to 2 different states before it got to him.
Yeah. Random. I must admit, the funniest one I had throughout all of this, I had one of our customers message me and said, "Are you sure I've got the right tracking? Because it says it's in Ireland." Yes, and it's that when they went to Switzerland. And it went from the UK, and then it went to Dublin. Then it sat in Dublin for a couple of days, and then it went, I think it was to Germany, then to Switzerland. And it was like, why has it gone that way? It's going the wrong direction, but it's the way it works at the moment.
It's getting air miles in. Right, I found these Trumpeter F18s if you're interested. They're 127 quid full retail for them now.
Right, 127?
Not in stock, you can't get them. But it's 127 for the E Super Hornets. Is it EF and a G? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So if anybody's interested. But what did you pay for yours? About 70 quid?
I think I got mine a long time ago, and they were from a said company who sticks them out on special every now and again.
Yeah.
So I got the extra discount on it as well. But I've got the Growler down there. I've got a Growler, and I've got the Hornet, the Legacy Hornet, which is the one which you can basically build them all out of it. Yeah. So take your pick. Okay, speaking of which, hi Fat Mill, no, that's definitely wrong. Phil and Matt, just a query as to whether PM will be selling the 132nd Edard Messerschmitt 109 Legend Condor Boxing. If so, put me down for one. Is that a new release?
It's another boxing of the E version of a 109
Condor unit. Isn't that the ones that went to Spain?
Yes, it is. And yes, we can get them. I've just looked and they're in stock. And also, I didn't realise the E3 version's back out as well.
Oh, right.
Which I think is the one that Andy built that's at the shop where he got his rosette.
Oh, right. He's got his rosette.
I'm sure
not that he mentions it ever.
Ever, no. Never. But yeah, you could get that as well. I didn't think that was back out. So if anybody wants a 109E from Edard, let us know.
Yes.
I'll get them in.
Yes. Mr. Andy Molyneux, age 7 3/4.
Yeah, with his rosette.
With his rosette.
Like you put on a prize cow. That's it. A prize pig.
That's it. I'm going to walk around with him wearing a white coat. Yeah. Right, Ali says, hi both. A quick query on the pre-order thread for the Tamiya Zero. Has this concluded or is it still live? I've put in a request, but I'm not sure if it's been too late.
It's okay. It's on because of the special orders, we can kind of just roll it on, if that makes sense.
Yes, because we did the initial one through. That's why I've got mine. I did the review of it, and then we did do a second one, haven't we? Put that one through again.
Yeah, and it was the same with obviously the F117, which was sold out as a special order, and the
shuttles as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because obviously Obico don't stock them over here, but we can order them straight out of Japan, but we have to order them in cartons. Mm-hmm. So there are some more Zeros coming. Again, 3 months is the average lead time, but we can't say. I know I got told about the factory in the Philippines. The Tamiya factory's only just reopened, and again that's on social distancing and all the safety aspects, so I don't think it's fully up to speed as it should be, but I think they're getting there. So I think that's why there's been a shortage of paint and stuff, and glue and stuff you could do with. So it's just going to take time for a bit of normality to come back, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but if your name's down, then you'll be down for one.
Yes. Don't forget, we don't take money until we've got them. So don't think you're paying 3 months up front and we sit on your cash, because we don't. Yeah. Literally, you put your name down, and then obviously this is just for members, and then obviously we'll put you down for one, and then when they come in, then you get invoiced and all the rest of it once we've got them in our grubby little mitts to send out.
Yes.
Second, I finished my BF 109, third since re-entering the hobby, and I want to try weathering. Which glory wash? That's the thing. If you got an iPhone, right, and you put Flory in, it always changes it to Glory. It still does it to me.
Oh, right.
It's like brilliant. Should I use which one to get? Just a specific colour or more than one? Loving being part of the forum. Great community. Superb support for newbies. Absolutely. I hate newbies. I hate that word because it's a derogatory term, I always say. A returnee to the hobby. And that's a great looking 109 down there. Nice modelling. Nice colours. All the rest of it. Very good. To be honest with you, with aircraft, what you want is the one colour we haven't got, and that's dark dirt. It will be available end of next week. It'll be back. If you want to, you can pre-order it on the Flory Model site. If you go along and just put your name in the box where it normally says, like, you know, checkout, there's a box, and if you put your name down there, as soon as it comes in stock, you get sent an email, and then you can follow the link on the email to buy it and do it that way. But on aircraft, 99% of the time, I just use dark dirt. And do it that way. You can use grime if you want to go for more of a muddy effect and things like that. But generally you can mix all the colours to do, but next week the wash set will be back in, so you might want to consider just doing the wash set, and then you've got them all then, you can mix them and do whatever you like with them, literally like that. But for the moment, dark dirt, which unfortunately we haven't got. Anyway, superb looking 109.
Lovely job.
Roger says, would it be possible to have a copy, email if you like, of the updated leaflet on the Jaguar? Mine is missing and I'm not sure what bit goes where. I see that you used it on a video build. Roger, you're talking many years ago. I built that literally 5 years ago, 6 years ago, so might be 7 years ago actually. It's when I was first here, moved here, and I've been here now coming up for 9 years. So yeah, I haven't got it anymore, I can assure you of that one, because I was looking for the Jaguar one a couple of weeks ago and I can't find anything to do with the Jaguar. So I don't know. Best place really is for you go, what's that Japanese website that has all the instructions up?
Oh God, I've got no idea. Nathan,
somebody in live chat, chirp up.
Yeah.
But there's a website, it's something JP whatever it is, and anyway, they've got all the instructions, and you can cut and paste or copy and paste and download all the instructions for every kit ever.
Surely if you just Google Kitty Hawk 148 Jaguar instructions, it'll come up on your images.
Yeah, just do an image search of it. Somebody will come up with it.
It might be on there, or that website will come up, and you can go on and click it. Just try that, but unless somebody else in chat or the forum can help you out, and they've got a copy they can email you over.
Yes.
That's what the forum's for, isn't it? It's good for that. So
yes, it is definitely. But unfortunately, I can't help you because I definitely haven't got anything on it. Only because I was looking for another member a few weeks ago. Now was talking about something, and I went through, and normally I have it all in one spot, and it isn't there. So again, it's probably because it's a very long time ago. Okay, Jim has got a beautiful tiger mofflet. He's saying, after a subvisor putting decals on top of decals. I had this question actually earlier, and I had it yesterday as well. Weird, we're in one of those days today. I'm starting to build the 148 scale Tiger Moth in this scheme, which is a beautiful scheme. The extra decals, which are these down here, for the aircraft registration are shown below. They're in two parts with a black outline and the silver. Do you have any recommendations for how to do this? Okay, so this is exactly the same as what I said yesterday. What I tend to do is, obviously, you put the registration on because the black is an outline. Okay, so you want that to go on last so it sharpens up around the edge. If you did it the other way, it's just going to cover it. Okay, so registration goes down first, the outline one goes on afterwards. A lot of people, it depends really on how comfortable you are with your decaling. You could put your normal registration on first, okay, and if you wanted to, you could put setting solutions and everything on, and then you're done, okay, and then, you know, and do it in one almost. So put your decal on, position it roughly, you know, where you're happy with it, okay, and then roll the water out so it's got a good grip onto it, then come along and put the outline one right on top of it straight away, roll the water out of it, and then put setting solutions on both. The correct way really of doing it is to do it multi-part. Put the first one on, okay, and then roll the water out, put your setting solution over the top and bed that one down, come back the next day when it's nicely smoothed out, okay, and then put the next one on top and then rinse and repeat of both. Then I would seal both together. I wouldn't seal one then the next one, because I can't be bothered to wait that long. But if you wanted to, you could seal them in parts. I was talking to one of our members earlier and he was on about it because he's got like 3 or 4 different layers of it. And would you clear coat between them all? No, I wouldn't, because I can't be bothered to wait that long. Okay, so literally I will go through, but what I might do if it's a complex one is put setting solution on so it beds in and it's properly welded on. That way it doesn't move. If you go along with the second one, it might move the first one, but if you've used setting solutions, it will weld it in place. If you wanted to, you could layer each one and go through. But honestly, I don't think you need to do it. I've never worried about it, and I've done some really technical ones in the past with 4 or 5 layers. And I usually just put setting solution on if it's a little bit, if it's got curves and stuff, but just on the flat, I'd probably just do it literally in one. Just line them up, roll it over, make sure they're all square, setting solution on the lot, and then clear coat it all once it's done in one.
Yeah, I would do the same, to be honest, because I think once the first lot of decals are dry, you ain't going to get them off.
No.
Can't reactivate them.
Yeah.
So you'll be fine putting like the outline around them and then like clear coating or whatever you want to do over the top.
Over the top. My worry is if you're putting clear coats down,
yes,
you know, it's going to get quite thick. You know, you're going to end up with a bulge where your decal is. If you've got 3 layers of clear coat on there, then your 4th on top, you're actually going to end up with quite a lump where it is. And in the scale point of it, it's probably going to be quite noticeable. Probably not so much on a big flat area like that, but if you were doing something, you know, normally, but it's no different from doing, if you're doing like a roundel on a wing, you know, some of those are multi-part purely to get rid of copyright problems. You know, and I just literally put one down, and then if it's one where it's on top of another decal completely, then yeah, absolutely, it just gets pushed in the middle, bit of water, put it round, rub it all over, make sure they're all square and in there, then just overcoat in one with a setting solution. Once that's bedded down, obviously it gets airbrushed over with a sealer to seal them in place, and then that's it. You know, again, you try not to make work, because every time you're putting clear coats on that, you might have something go wrong, so it's easier just to do it all in one if you can.
Yep.
Ooh, look at Tomcat back.
Cat.
Tomcat. Okay, so this is James. He says, Phil, I've got a couple of questions. I'm at the stage of matte coating my F14 with an airbrush using XF86. Sounds like an old plane. Is there any technique for spraying a matte coat? Okay, so obviously we've spoken about various coats to how to get a smooth coat. Okay, so it's basically the other way. Okay, so what you want to do is just be a little bit further away, so when you're putting it on you can almost see it going on, being flat, and then that way that's it. What you don't want to do though is build it up too much. Okay, you don't want to be putting it on like wet, because when it dries you can get that frosty look. Okay, and that's a bad thing as well. That's where there's so much medium, the thick bit, if you like, you know, that it's being left behind. So when the thinner all evaporates off, you're left with it and it's very chalky. So yes, I reckon that's a Dakota out there. It sounds like a Dakota.
Really?
That's proper old. Whatever's out there sounds like radial engines.
Oh, right, okay. Send cams out to have a look.
Yeah, that's it. Get some photos quick. But yeah, it's an old radial out there and it's not going very quick. It's still like, it sounds like it's just there and it's like crawling along. So yeah, so that's the thing. So gloss coating, you want it to be wet and close. If you're flat coating, depending on how flat you want it as well, okay, if you want to go dead flat, you want to be quite a long distance away, so it's drying almost en route, and it gives you, but the thing is you'll get a texture. So you've got this balance thing as well. A good flat, like obviously this, you know, it's just primer on here, but it's actually got quite a shine to it. It's not dead flat, but it's very, very smooth. So it's a flat finish, but smooth. Okay, this is just as smooth, to be honest, as that is. But again, because this is a gloss, the particles are very smaller, it's laid out, those ones are all sticking up in all directions, gives you a flat look. So there's a series of videos I think I'm going to do about flat coat, satin coat, gloss coat, but all of them are going to have the same texture, because texture is the same thing to think about with these. If you've got a heavy texture, it's going to have more of a flat look. You know, it's like looking at a sander, because it's got a texture, it looks dead flat. But the thing is, if you look at a polisher, it still looks dead flat. It's just, even though it's got a finer texture, it's how they are and how it's arranged and how it looks. There's a little bit of science into all of these things, which is something that I'm going to cover in a short series of little videos. I'll probably do a little 3 series on these to show it. But again, it is that thing, flat coat. What you don't want to do though is just overload it with flat. You know, because if you put it on too thick, when it dries, it's going to go chalky. And we have a lot of people, one of the questions that comes up is, why has my model got a frosty look to it? And it's because there's physically too much flat into it. It's like when you put flat base, which don't do X21, you know, that's the whole point to it. That's giving texture to your paint too much, and it just looks horrible. So yeah, just one of those things. But flat coating, XF86, 50-50 mix. A little bit further away than you would normally do for glossing, obviously, and you just nice even coat right the way through. But also look at it when you're spraying, have your model and look across it. So like here, it's looking like a mirror to me. I can see all the paints. So when you're putting it on, you can see it going on and giving it a flat look and killing that shine off. And that's what you're trying to do with it as well. But also don't think more is best, because otherwise you end up with that sort of frosty look to it as well.
You do.
Also, I've just started out with a new airbrush. I've never really done it before. I have sprayed my gloss coat, done the panel line wash. I've heard the term orange peel before with gloss. Is this orange peel? If so, I have more in close to or reduce the air pressure. I'll put a thick coat on. Also, if I put on a matte coat over the model, as it is, would it be as rough as sandpaper texture? Okay, so you can see that down on there. Doesn't look too bad, I must admit. It's not like orange peel as I call it, like fish eyes all over it.
No, it's not that bad actually. It's got a bit of texture, but it's not a flat coat. Will just take that off anyway.
Yeah. So,
and again, don't be thinking you can grab that with a sanding stick and polishing stick and just take the texture off it. But I don't think that looks too bad, to be perfectly honest.
To be honest, I take it that's probably 70-second as well, is it? Just looking at the panel lines, it looks like it's 70-second.
It does look a bit 70-second-ish, doesn't it? It might be the, is it the Revell kit?
Yeah, he hasn't actually said what it is, but yeah.
Just looking at the panel lines are a bit...
Just looking at the panel lines for it, it looks like a 70-second kit. It might be the Hobby Boss, but yeah. Again, to be honest, that doesn't look too bad. Again, when you're looking at, orange peel, to me, it looks like the surface of an orange. It's proper got your ups and downs and all your rest of it, which obviously is more matte side of it, because in the real world on a car, that's a nightmare, isn't it? We get your orange peel all over it.
Yeah, it's not great. It's a lot of work to get it to flat and polish it out, put it that way. You don't want a lot of orange peel. So, I don't think that looks too bad.
To be honest, I think that by the time you bung a flat coat over that, I don't think you'll have a problem with it at all.
Again, I think, with an orange peel, what you're seeing is obviously the texture of the paint and the light reflecting off it.
Yes.
So if you've got a flat coat on that, you're going to get no reflection of light, or very little, so you're not going to see the orange peel anyway.
Yes.
It don't look very rough. I mean, obviously when you feel it, like you say with your VC10 you've primed, obviously you can run your fingers over that and feel how smooth or how rough it is.
Yeah.
But if you have got a bit of rough texture, if you rub your fingers over it and you can feel it's a little bit rough, just get one of the polishing sticks and give it a quick polish, and it'll just take the top off and just smooth it down.
Yeah.
So, and then flat coat it, and you'll be absolutely no problem at all.
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
Again, honestly, I wouldn't worry about that. To me, that's absolutely fine. Again, with orange peel, it's one of those things. If you've got it on a gloss like this, if I had orange peel all over it, it would look terrible. But if you was to flat coat it, you wouldn't even notice it. Because again, it is this thing, the light is reflecting it. Those little craters it's got is reflecting back at you, and it makes it look a lot worse. And especially if you're looking across it at certain angles. If you're looking at it straight down, you can hardly see it. It's when you put it on an angle, you can see it in the light. It is definitely one of those. But with a flat coat, they go. I wouldn't worry about it at all.
Again, he's done a good job, say it's his new with an airbrush.
Yeah, that's it. First time with airbrush and things like that. Or a couple of times with airbrush. Good job.
Again, practice, isn't it? Practice with airbrushing. Practice and confidence.
Like we always say, a couple of people mentioned about rescribing in the forum and stuff like that. Rescribing and re-riveting is just two things where it's practice, because unless you're doing it, there's no magic tool. It's not like there's a riveting rescribing tool out there that will give you a perfect panel line with every pass, because all scribers work on pressure. How much pressure you're putting is how deep they are, and you know, obviously from that point of view you want to keep it even so they're all the same. It's one of those things where it's just practice, practice, practice. It's not like there's a magic tool out there you can spend $100 on that will give you a perfect panel line, because again, you could be an animal with it and end up carving the hell out of it. You know, you get another person who's used to doing it, just comes in and makes it look easy. That's the thing. But again, it's practice. Airbrushing is exactly the same. Like I've often said, airbrushing to me was very, very difficult. That's why I ended up doing videos in the first place, is because I never saw it. And if you read books from the 70s, as I did, it says about milk, stupid air pressures, and it's like, yeah, no, that doesn't work, you know, especially with modern paints and things like that. And it was like alchemy. It was all like mystical stuff about airbrushing. So that's why I started doing videos in the first place, was to show that yes, you can do it. One of my first videos was spraying white. Still available. You can see me wearing dodgy jumpers from back in the, I think it's 97 or whatever it was, and yeah, it's up on YouTube if you find it, and it's me spraying white for a Mr. Rabbit. And
can you actually see what you're doing?
Pretty much, yeah. I think it's like 36. It's like this resolution that's stretched on YouTube, but yeah, it's not good. But that was it, because somebody was asking me, how do you spray white? How can you just whack down white and never have a problem with it? And that's because in those days I spray it very, very thick. You know, one and done. That was it. Thick coat, then a thin coat over the top, and that's it. Walk away.
It's thingy though how your techniques change, isn't it, over the years? Do you know what I mean? Because like you going back to probably when you first started doing vids, you just this night and day.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I know obviously the products and the probably like the equipment's changed, but an airbrush is an airbrush.
Yeah, it still atomises paint, so it does.
From the 60s to now, it's the same principle of you've got a needle, you've got a nozzle, you've got the air coming through, and paint comes out the end. Obviously the tooling's got better and more precise. I think that's probably the difference of how it's built and made. But airbrushing is painting's painting, and like you say, it atomises the paint. There's not many really ways you can do it, is there? Let's be honest, it's a standard, you know. But again, like you say, how you painted white, which was thick, one coat, you wouldn't do that now, would you?
No. But again, back then I used to spray everything at basically around about 20 psi minimum.
That's what I mean. And now, what you're now, 10?
10, if that, yeah.
So it's just a learning curve, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. Back in those days, I used to just spray everything around about 20-25 psi, thick paint, you know, and it was rough texture. It was like gravel.
Well, this is it, but,
you know.
I mean, from when you started to now, with the internet, you can watch people do it. Where obviously when I was come back into the hobby again from a break from God knows when, until I sort of discovered you basically on YouTube, I had no idea. I was still like modelling from back in the day. I had certain things because you can pick it up from magazines and stuff, but I'm definitely one of them people who like to see people do it to learn rather than read about it. Yeah, there's only so much you can get from reading, isn't there? So like I say, the internet for people coming back now is just an absolute godsend, because it's just such a thing of knowledge. It's isn't it?
It is a total font of knowledge, absolutely. But it is. I've always said that, you know, if a picture says 1,000 words, then a video does 10 million.
Oh God!
Because
absolutely.
you can just see it, and you know, when you try and even like for me back in the day, and say when I used to do a little bit of magazine work, and you know, the editor say it's got to be in so many words, and it was like, how? You know, you try to explain something, and all you've got is like 4 or 5 pages in a mag to try and explain what is technically something very difficult. You know, you cram as many photos in as you can, but a video, it's a 5-minute video to show someone. But if you're doing pictures and words, you need a lot more. So,
but the other thing is as well, the language part of it is kind of irrelevant. You know what I mean? Because I watch videos from people who are from Japan, from Spain, from wherever around the world on YouTube, and I have no idea what they're saying, to be honest, but you don't need to, because you're watching what they're doing.
Yes.
And it's the techniques and stuff that you're learning from, not actually what they're saying. I think that's, you know, so, yeah.
Definitely. Right, okay, so we've got Graham says, thanks Phil for answering my decal question, makes sense the way you said. When spraying GX112, how do I get a satin finish? So is that the XF GX satin, is it?
No, that's the gloss. That's the
gloss. So if you were doing it with that one, that's easy then. So what you're going to do is that stuff tends to be quite thick as well. We were talking about it yesterday about the cotton candy or cobwebbing effect with it, which a lot of people have been having. You need to thin it more and turn your air pressure down, basically. Okay, so if you were doing with that, you'd have your normal one like you were doing it for gloss, but you just up your air pressure just a little bit more, but just move a little bit further away. So that way, when it's traveling to your model, it's literally drying a little bit. So it's hitting the surface and doesn't have time to melt in. It's going to basically just layer. And that's how you'll do it, and you'll go along. The classic is that I used to say one of the best satin finishes I used to achieve was actually using floor care. You know, using Future. Because if you put it down at a higher air pressure and just blast it over your model, you get a lovely satin finish right the way over it. You know, if you want to go in and do gloss work, that's different. But if you just want a satin finish, then that's what I used to use for it, was Johnson's Floor Care. Just at a higher air pressure. So you're probably shooting it at, I say I don't really use air pressures, as a lot of you know, but I'm probably shooting that at 20 psi and it's fine. You know, nice satin finish. Do the same with that one.
Just to say, you know, the GX112 is really not designed for that. It is a proper lacquer gloss coat. So I think you would really struggle to get a satin coat out of it, unless the only thing you could possibly add to it to do that, and you're going to have to like do a bit of proper chemistry, is X21, the matte base, to dull it off, because that will get any paint, because it is just what it, you know, it is what it does. It makes things flat. But again, I'd mix it, you know, out the airbrush and test it on something to get the right ratios. But yeah, really, because it's such a glossy lacquer, the GX, it's different from X22 and the others, if that makes sense. It's a different clear coat. For me, so I don't know. I don't know if it would work or not. You'd have to try.
But again, the thing is, if it's a specific gloss that's designed for a high gloss finish, that's not really what you want to be doing with it. You just want a general, as I say, like Johnson's Floor Care is a gloss, but I can make that as flat. I've done videos on it. If you go back, there's a video on there, and I've got a piece of A4 plastic card in 4 squares, and I go from gloss to dead flat using the same one, but it's just technique, as in air pressure and distance, and that's how I do it, to show that it doesn't matter. And the same way that works again, because if you take like a flat paint and you put it on very close and thick it down, it'll go very much like a satin rather than a flat, you know, purely because it's got time to level out and smooth out, and it ends out like that, you know, which is more of a satin finish, you know, which is probably what that is, you know. So again, it's one of those, you can play with them a little bit, but as I say, I haven't got the GX112, I've just got the GX, that one, which is the, which one's that one?
100 you've got.
The 100, that's the only one I've got. It's very thick, it's great for gloss work. But again, I haven't tried to use it flat because it is specifically that type of thing, you know, so you wouldn't really need it for that.
But say, wouldn't you be better with the X35, is it? The Tamiya's semi-gloss coat is X35, I think. I'm trying to look, I've got it turned around up there.
But then again, if you use XF86 with self-leveling thinners in, that gives a nice satin finish. And that's flat. It's Tamiya flat, but again, if you put self-leveling through it and just spray it down as normal, that gives a nice satin finish, not so much more of a proper flat. Because again, it's got time to do all its bits and pieces, sort itself out, and it's a nice smooth finish then. Again, I think what I'm going to do with this series of videos on is to try and get people to have that smooth finish of paint. So everything, it doesn't matter if it's this, which is technically a gloss coat, or this, they both feel exactly the same. You know, and I think that will cure a lot of people's problems, because a lot of people talk about texture and then weathering gets caught in the texture, and that it's all to do with your airbrushing, not your weathering even. You know, you get people say to me about washes won't come off, not just clay washes, but oil washes and stuff, and you just know it's caught in the texture. And they send you a photo and it looks like grit, it looks like a sanding stick, you know, and it's a case of, right, get in there with a sponge and sand that back, then wipe it off, and you'll probably find you'll get a good 90% of it off now. But because you can't physically touch any of these areas because it's down in the texture, it's welded in there, you need to get it out, you know. So, but again, I'll do a series of videos and we'll try and get people to have a smoother paint, so it doesn't matter if it's gloss, satin or flat, it's just still as smooth to touch. And I think that's the thing, if you've got a nice smooth finish, it'll help a lot of further down the line with everything from decaling to your weathering to masking, because if you've got a really tough rough texture and you mask over it, you get bleed because it can get underneath it. But if you've got a nice smooth finish, it will be a proper line, you won't have any trouble with it. So you'll be surprised in how many effects are just caused by texture. And you go through all of them. And again, like I've always said, the trouble is if you've got texture in your primer, by the time you get through to glossing, you've got 3 or 4 levels of problems, and it's horrible, and you've just got that thing that, you say decals, you've got silvering problems, or decals that don't want to lay down properly. That's because of the texture you're going on to. Then obviously you've got your clear coats on top. Then you find your weathering gets stuck and doesn't move as nicely as it should. And then, you've got all these different layers that come along there purely because your primer coat was a bit rough. And that could be anything from getting, as you said before, dusting, rubbish on your desk, then it goes into your paint, causes, texture finish. There's lots of things that can be cured, I think, by smooth finishes.
Definitely. Oh no, 100%.
Okay, Carla says, okay, I have several really old kits, 20 years or so. I have finished one, but noticed the decals went on okay, but still look a bit silvery. There we go. I laid them down on a gloss coat and then went on with no issues, but noticed the yellow on the film. Oh, here we go. Once it's dried, is this due to the age or am I doing something wrong? Okay, is there a way to tell before applying the decal is too old to use? We often have this one, isn't it? If you think your decal is going to be a problem, bin it. Honestly, for the price of decals, or put a shout out on the forum and say, has anyone got any replacement decals for? We've all got boxes of decals down in there that we're never going to use, and if you're like me, you just send them out. If anybody wants them, they can just have them, purely because you've caused yourself a little bit of a nightmare now. Was it really worth it? 20 years, to be honest, as I know I'm getting old, clearly, but isn't that old in the great scheme of things? A lot of kits over there might be 20 years old now. But as you say, if they've started to yellow and they get a little bit brittle, that's when you can have silvering problems and stuff like that. So I don't think there's any fast rule that says if they've yellowed, because sometimes you get in yellow and they still go down really nice, and if it's over a black coat, you're not going to see it, it'll be fine. But honestly, if you think they're going to be a problem, I wouldn't bother. I would just go for something else. Because funny enough, it would have been interesting. I'll have to do it one day. Those ones that I had for the Trojan, I might try those decals just to see, because they're 40 odd years old. So it'd be interesting to see if they still work on Buster or something.
The thing is, when you get it's you're gambling, aren't you? Whether they're going to work. That's the problem, and you need to take that risk element out of it. It's just not worth it. So for me, if you can buy replacements and newer replacements, just buy them and don't even think about using the old ones, because if you run into problems, you're just going to give yourself an headache you don't need, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So
honestly, it's sometimes
not worth it, is it?
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's only going to come down and bite you on the bum, and you might find in a few years as well that they suddenly look rubbish, and because they were on their way out, and the fact they were brittle when they went on there and haven't adhered in, even if you sealed them in. That I've seen decals go funny before.
But also as well, you've got to think technology's moved on with printing as well. From when they were printers, they did 25-year-old decals.
Yeah.
To now, the technology's moved on, so the printing's better, and probably the adhesives are, everything's going to deteriorate over time, isn't it? So
absolutely, yes, yeah.
Especially stuck in a box.
Drying out in a box.
Yeah, a lot of people, in the loft, in the box, in the loft, or wherever you keep your kits, So, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, right.
Okay, Richie just reminded me that quote. I did ask Matt about this one for that 132nd 109E weekend edition. Is that available, Matt?
No, I've just looked on both things. The one that the Profi Pack's available, which is the E3, which is obviously the one we just mentioned that Andy built, but the actual weekend edition isn't. It's not in stock at any of our suppliers, so I presume it's been discontinued again for the time being. So yeah.
Yes. Hi guys, we'll be stocking when it arrives the Zvezda C130 Herc.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely, Zvezda. We carry Zvezda, so yes.
And especially a Herc.
And a Herc, because everyone loves a Herc. Yes. Afternoon, gents. What colour is my VC10 Poffler, whatever it is? It's his what if thing. I have no idea. It's a what if. It'll be whatever colour you want it to be there, Peter. Hope you're feeling better.
Yes.
Obviously, Peter had a mild heart attack building a kit. I can say it, because I need one as well. Could I have a break then? So
No.
yes.
No, you can't.
Oh, fair enough. But yes, I have no idea. I don't even know what era it was back in those days. Wasn't that been standard sort of either beige in that era when those were being thought of? I don't know.
No idea.
Yes. Okay, what is the new Ryefield Challenger 2 variant? What is the new Ryefield 2 Challenger variant that you hinted at last week? You said they were bringing out another version.
Yes, they are. It's one that's Salisbury Plain, so whatever they're using.
Right, so it's the new one, the modern one.
Does that count as a modern one, or is that an old one? Because this is a new one we've got now that you've reviewed with the Terminator or whatever it is.
Well, it's got a different armour set, isn't it? They used to use, isn't it? The thing with Charlie's, they've all got different things on them. One of them's got Chobham, one of them's got another village down the road, all named after villages, aren't they? So.
Oh, are they? I've got no idea, to be honest.
I go through Chobham quite a lot actually when I go to Woking, so that's what it is.
Right.
It's just literally outside Woking, so. But yeah, it's a village where it was designed as Chobham, and then there's another armour variant. They're all named after villages, so yes.
Well, that one's got what's it called on, isn't it? Transformer thing, isn't it? Can't remember what it is. Oh god, yeah, whichever that one. So apparently the other version is what's in service, I presume, because that one's just like a prototype in it.
Something like that.
Megatron, that's it.
That's it.
Megatron, because that's a one-off tank, isn't it?
Apparently, yeah. Well, that's because it's got something new on it, isn't it?
Yes.
Something funky.
But it's the usual thing with manufacturers. Now they're bringing out the production version of what's in service.
Yes.
So I don't know what version that is, but yeah, apparently I've not even seen any pictures yet. So when we get some box art, they'll be put up.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. Okay, James says, question Phil, with regard to your washes, what would be the best to use over white? Shown over my MR3 Shackleton. Very nice. Well, again, to be honest, because you're probably going to use over the wings as well, I would just keep it all the same. I don't think it looks right when people change it for the different camos, shall we say. So I just stick dark dirt right over the lot. It'll be fine.
Looks nice though, that, doesn't it?
It does, it's very nice. I like a shack in those markings, it's nice.
I do like a shack as well. I think it's
cool looking aircraft. Very cool.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
John says, hi, I'm doing the British Rolls-Royce armoured car and have the colour call out for MC, oh my god, 01 and then to it is a grey, but can't out. Is that the old colour call out?
It's the counter scheme. Yeah, and it's called, is it, oh god, I've got it, silver grey?
Right.
Is it, there's a name for the grey, I've got it, to be honest, without digging it out, I've got it in life colour. But yeah, I'm sure that was done in the counter scheme, so if you just look up that, it will tell you the colours of what was in it, because one's stone grey, and I can see it in my head, but I can't remember what they are. So there is sets out there, I think AK do one, Vallejo do one, Life Colour do one. Like I say, just want to look for a counter, British counter scheme.
Right.
Paint set, and it'll give you what they are.
I must admit, I know nothing about that at all.
Yeah, it's the early, when we was in the desert, I think early 40, 41, they did it. Disruptive, sort of hard edge camo thing.
Yes.
So, yes, and I'll just answer Keith. Yes, mate, I did, thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Keith. Yeah, I did. Sorry I've not got back to you. Like I say, I've just saying to Phil, I've got a load of emails to go through after we finished here.
Right, is it Keith's birthday today, is it?
No, it's something else.
Oh, right, okay. Right, okay. David said, afternoon, guys. Will you be getting the any more Ryefield Challenger 2s in stock?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, well, 100%. Yep.
Also, I'm thinking of getting a 148 scale F-15, any US Air Force variant. I like the look of the Great Hall hobby kits, but they're hard to get hold of. What would you recommend? Have to say that, obviously condolences to the family, because obviously the US Air Force lost a UK based F-15C, which sadly crashed into the North Sea. Yeah. And obviously the pilot was killed, they recovered him and everything, the aircraft's recovered and everything now, so
Yeah.
Yes, sad condolences to that. We don't know quite what happened or anything. We don't know anymore, but yeah. Great Wall Hobby kits are, to be honest, they're a bit of a nemesis of ours, aren't they? Because we used to be able to get them, and then we couldn't get them because our stockists stopped doing them. And then they did, and then they didn't, and then I don't know. Again, it depends on which rumours you believe, but it's almost like Great Wall Hobbies don't want to sell kits. As stupid as it sounds, because they are very, very hard to get hold of. Apart from that, your other option, if you want the one that had the midlife upgrade, the Mist one, then obviously Academy do it, and that's the one that I've built, because I built the Academy one. There's a video build up for it as well. And to be honest, looks like an F15 to me. There's plenty of aftermarket available for them as well. Your other option, if you want to go a little bit old school, is the Hasegawa kit. But you would need to get the new burner cans for the rear and stuff like that with it, which isn't a bad shout because they're very, very nice for it. And new seats and stuff. After the bat, if you want to get one that's easy to get hold of, get the Academy one with the midlife upgrade. It's called the Mist version. Is it the MSP, whatever it is?
Hold on before you start saying that, because I don't think that's in production.
Oh, they stopped it. Brilliant.
Yeah. To be honest with you, Academy kits at the minute are a nightmare to get hold of, full stop.
Right.
And I'm just looking now, and I don't know why. I don't know why is it with Academy at the minute. Whether it's something to do with obviously where they come from out of South Korea, I don't know. But they're not even, the F15s aren't even listed. As in, no, there's nothing. You can't even get the Phantoms.
Right, that's a bugger.
You can't get the Phantoms, so the F15's not even. It's not even listed on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, as if for Great Wall Hobbies, again, I have now sourced a new place to get them from. They've just got nothing in stock.
Right.
It's like Kitty Hawk at the minute. So unless you can obviously source it from somewhere else, an Academy kit, but none of our stockists have got any in. Like I say, I don't even think it's in production from what I can remember, because I've not seen it for ages, as in listed up, what we can get. So, yes.
Bugger. As I say, if I was building one, I'd go for the Great Wall Hobbies one first, because I think that's probably got the best detail. After that, I'll go down the Academy route. After that, I'll probably go down the Hasegawa route. The Hasegawa one's very old now, but actually, to be honest, it's still quite a nice kit. It's got all your bits you could need for it and all the rest of it down there. And then same really goes for the Eagle. If people are looking for the Strike Eagle, for the Mud Hen, for the E, then technically first bait would be to go for the Great Wall Hobbies one. And then obviously if you can't do that, you got your Revell one. So yeah. Okay, James says, thank you for the lovely comments, enjoying every part of learning how to use an airbrush. At times I can be stressful, but it's great knowledge that if something goes wrong, it teaches me more. Knowing why things have gone wrong, honestly, especially with airbrushing, same for life, but if you know why it's done it, it's easy. Okay, it makes sense. It's the bit where you're doing and you just got no idea why it's doing that. That's the most frustrating thing about the hobby as a whole, but airbrushing especially, when you've got like texture in your paint and you just can't get rid of it, and no matter what you do, no matter what paint and all the rest of it, and then you find out it's just because you're probably a little bit too far away. Really annoying. If you knew that you need to be closer, and that's what we're saying about videos, you can see someone do it, but nobody mentions how far away they are when they're spraying or how much paint they're putting down and stuff like that. Again, it can be really, really frustrating with it. Just to confirm, it is the Revell 72nd F14D. There you go. It's been a bit of a pain, but it's getting there. Absolutely. Well, it looked all right to us. I think you're fine on that one, James.
Yeah, you're doing all right. Good job.
You're doing good. Okay, and last up, we've got Stefan. Look, last up, Stefan last. Brilliant. I don't know how we do it.
I don't know.
I'm here all week. Hi, Phil. Of your washes, would you use to liven up a black aircraft? I wouldn't look, just leave it. No. For example, the Bolton Paw Defiant Night Fighter. Thinking of doing the FX 148 one. I never weathered it before, entirely black. Again, black is one of those colours where just spraying it black won't really cut it, especially if you've got no surface detail. To be honest, the reason this looks quite nice is because it's got a ton of surface detail on this. Okay, if you haven't got any surface detail on it, it just looks very, very bland. Okay, and it can look a bit brick-like. And to be honest, Airfix kits are always like that because they don't have much surface detail. So what you need to do is somewhat liven up the paintwork, and that can be done by adding a little bit of blue to your paint. a little bit of, you know, something else, a little bit of grey in there, just to break up the paintwork so it's not just black. Okay, and that will help a long way. Then with your weathering afterwards, you could, it depends which way you go. Dark dirt will show up on black. When I do the shows, you know, I've got a demo piece, I have a bit of black and we put dark dirt and it looks brown onto it, so you can see it all in there as being brown. Grime as well works really well on black, okay, because you can see it. And then obviously you can go through this things of actually adding a little bit of light to it. So if you wanted to, you could do it in incredibly dark grey, just so it highlights the panel lines a little bit. So if you wanted to, have a little bit of black and add a little bit of white into it, just to make it incredibly dark. But the same goes with the dark dirt, add a little bit of light to it to lighten it just a tiny bit, and go just so you can see all the details that are going on, and to give it a more weathered look if you go through it like that. But if you wanted to weather it in, you know, you can go right left field, and a lot of people do it, especially over blue, and they use the whitewash and it just pings out. But I think on black it would be way too much. Okay, so I would just go with a very, very dark grey and do it like that. So go with the black and add a little bit of light to it and go that way. But also just go with the dark dirt, see how you like it. If it doesn't look like it's doing much, add a little bit of light to it, just lighten it a little bit. Perhaps if you've got the grime, try a little bit of grime onto it and do it that way. It'll be absolutely fine. It'll work.
Yep.
So cool, very good deed indeed. Sorry to everybody in live chats because we haven't really spoken to them at all, have we?
No.
Did anybody be watching?
Our hour's gone over.
Yes, we've gone over our hour. I've got Sanders to do. I've got lots of Sanders to do and get going with all of that one. So I'm going to be cracking on with them. Somebody was asking. Yes, we will be on tomorrow. Tomorrow night 7:30 with the guys. We'll all be on as always on with that one. So yes, you'll be in with us. You got anywhere to go?
Me? Oh wow, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'll be the voice from beyond again as usual.
Oh, you do your voice from beyond, and then we just cut to you when we need you.
Yeah.
So yes, but no, we will be on with you 7:30 tomorrow. As I say, this week is a little bit out the window for me because I'm literally just doing Sanders, getting this packaged up and everything. Next week I'll be doing washes as well, but I am trying to do things as well. So as I say, this has been done, so she's all glossy. The next part of that will be up with you on Friday. The VC10, well, obviously we're going to start detailing the body, doing all the new rescribing for it, adding all the strengthening panels and all the stuff like that. So that'll be pushing along with that one next week. But in the meantime, I have got coming up with you, and I will do it because I'm going to do it in the morning, is do the review for the Ford Mustang, which is this one, which is that fantastic kit. It is available. We have got it in store. Is it in stock?
Yeah.
There you go. Ooh, to be honest, it's going to be great, and I want one. That's it.
You can have that one. There you go. You want to?
No, I was thinking of the real thing. So we got that one coming up with you this week, which I'll do tomorrow, and probably I'll get this one done as well, which is the Das Works. Which is sort of the what if Salamander V1 hybrid thing, whatever they call it. They call it an EF126. Is it an Eli or a Wally? An Ellie and a Wally?
Ellie, I don't know, to be honest.
There you go. So yes, we've got those as well. So we've got also down there, I've got the one of them, which I'll get done as soon as possible. Honest, my lord, it's true, I will do. And obviously we got the 108 as well.
Yeah.
So I'll get those sorted. We'll get those reviews done for you at some point this week, and then they'll obviously start filtering out as the week progresses, as we make our way along. Right. There we go. That will do. That was us.
See you later.
Right. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Happy modelling. Take care. We will see you all tomorrow night at 7:30. Love to have you along with us. See you later. Bye.
Bye.